The following program was paid for by Templar Real Estate. The views and opinions expressed on this program are not necessarily those of the staff and management of WMTR. As always, it is advisable to consult a professional before making a major decision. It's time now for the Templar Real Estate Talk Show. Here's your host for the program, Joseph J. Zoppi.
Hello, welcome to the Templar Real Estate Talk Show. My name is Joseph J. Zoppi, a real estate investor, consumer advocate, author, and managing partner of Templar Real Estate Enterprises. You can reach us at templarcashforhouses.com. That's TEMPLAR cashforhouses.com. That's one word. Or call us at 973-240-8593. Again, that's 973-240-8593. And we could answer any questions you may have or email us from our website. Again, you could ask any questions or anything you want discussed on the show. We'd be happy to try to fit it in. For first-time listeners, my company is a real estate investment firm. We buy houses for cash. We purchase apartment buildings. We do joint ventures with other real estate investors. We loan money for rehabs and provide transactional and gap funding as well. We work with individuals that want to invest with us in single-family houses up to apartment buildings. We do not speculate, and we're very protective of our money and our investors' money. I'm not a brokerage, and we're not an agent. I have individuals on staff that are agents that will sell your house through the traditional multiple listing service. The show is going to go over everything there is about real estate and those things that impact real estate. We'll talk about our rehabs, some of our investments, what went well, what did not, and especially how we overcame them and learned from it. We'll talk about the economy and interest rates. We'll discuss trends in the real estate market. Real estate is one of your biggest investments, so it's important you know as much as possible about it. I will provide you my opinion. It's only my opinion. I ask everyone to do research and make sure you check everything out. Continue to ask questions. As I always say every week, recommendations are great, but you just can't take the recommendation on face value. You got to ask lots of questions in terms of what they did, whoever the person is or whatever the service is, how they did it, were they late, did they communicate? Communication is one of the biggest things that's extremely, extremely important. So it clearly sets expectations. It's one thing to come, every other week if that's what the expectations are. But if it's not, then we have an issue. So again, communication is probably one of the biggest things, but you need to ask lots of questions. I'm going to do a shout out to, of course, one of my favorite listeners, Livingston's famous crossing guard, Paulette, and Timmy from Cedar Grove Water Department, along with Johnny and Cindy Z. So Johnny and Cindy, hello, how you doing, guys? Thanks a lot for everything. I'd like to also thank some of my investors that invested in a number of our properties, and I appreciate the support and the confidence that you give Templar and my entire staff. One of the things I would like to discuss today is about character and not saying no. So that's going to be later on in the show. One of the other things that I've been looking for, and I continue to ask anyone that has referrals for houses that need to be sold, as well as apartment buildings. I'm looking for apartment buildings, so please keep your eye out. Please give me a call. There will always be a referral fee, and I'll give that to you. As a result of it, I'm very discreet, so I'm not going to use your name unless you want to. So that's very, very important. Another thing is that I wanted to update everyone on woman, Angie, that we've been trying to find an apartment for. She's from Ecuador. So she lives in the inner city. I think it's Orange. And she has an 8-year-old son. 8-year-old son can't go out and play. He's always worried. He's worried when he goes to school. So it's just not a good situation. We've been trying to locate an apartment. And like I said before, we have a couple of apartments in Caldwell. So finally we're able to align everything, and Angie and my partner and Paulette. And Paulette's the one that really told us about Angie. We're going to be going out to look at the apartment on Sunday. So let's keep our fingers crossed, and maybe everything will be perfect and we could really do something really great for Angie and her son and get her into a really nice town. Caldwell's a great town, and just be there to help her out. And then also, we will be there to help her throughout the months. Like I said before, myself and Templar will provide additional money for her rent to ensure that she could stay in Caldwell. Right now, she could not afford that much, basically, and that's why she's in Orange right now. And a place like Caldwell, she's not going to be able to afford. But we can't just turn our back on her, and it's kind of really important who we are as an organization, who we are as people, that when we see something like this, we really got to jump in and really help her. And I think that's just the way it is. The other thing I'd like to talk about briefly is, I spoke about it last week. There's a recall on some smoke alarms. It's Kitty TrueSense. I wanted to bring it up again in case you do have that. So it's the smoke alarms, or a combination smoke alarm and carbon monoxide alarm. So they're being recalled. So go on to the Kitty site to check and see if you do have a Kitty, whether it's being recalled. So they were sold in Walmart, Home Depot, most major department stores. So, I like to talk to people, and I was at one of my properties today, matter of fact, and the tenant was leaving, and there was a number of things that were left out on the curb for bulk pickup. And the next door neighbor, she came by, and she asked me, is this for garbage, or can I take it? I said, yeah, definitely you could take it. It was really nice. She's Hispanic, and she was talking to me, and we were just talking about just general things. And she said, some of this furniture is really good. And I said, yeah, definitely. And so she said, I would really like to take it. And I said, yeah, no problem. And I helped her with it, move it over and into her house. And we just got talking about who she is. And, she said that right now, she's working hard, but, she's saving a little bit. And, she had a little minivan, and she used to make breakfast and lunch and then sell it out of her minivan. She'd make, $150. I think it was for the week or something like that. I'm not quite sure. She said $150. I assume it's for the week, or maybe it's per day. And then she said, at the end of the day, then at night I go cleaning. And she says, I don't mind working hard. And, she was talking about how she's a citizen, but her husband is not. And, he gets paid under the table, and they make ends meet, and they save a little bit. And, she was very frustrated with, the free money that was given out, and how people don't want to work for it and stuff. And, she just felt like that was just wrong. So, everybody thinks, the stereotypical, if someone's an immigrant, they don't want to work hard, or, they always want the free money. And, I've encountered so many individuals that are not like that. Now, on the flip side, there's, some that it doesn't matter if you're an immigrant or not, they just don't want to work. But, you talk to these people and you realize that, there's a lot of good people out there that, don't want the free money and want to work for it, and they feel that, work is a good thing, and, it's good for them and good for the economy, and, just good for everybody. And I think that's very important to remember, that, free is not always good. I remember one person said, "Yeah, free is for me," and so I think, sometimes we got to think about that. The other thing I'd like to talk about, and I brought it up last week, and I looked at it a little bit closer, is inflation. So inflation's something I've always looked at and I've always been very wary of. And one of the things that we do, because we're investing in real estate and we're investing lots of money, and we're always looking at the economy, we're always looking where the economy is going. We look at the stock market very closely. We look at commodities, and commodities are, things like gold, silver, other, commodities could be, what for cotton, all those types of things. So there's soft commodities and hard commodities. And soft commodities is like cotton, and hard commodities like silver. And we look at those commodities very closely as an indication also where things are going. Now, 1 or 2 months or 3 months sometimes is not an indication, but after a certain amount of time, a trend is established. And I spoke about, and I said, to be cautious about inflation. I think inflation's going to kick in. Now, the number wasn't great last month in April, and it was the biggest increase since September of 2008. So that's a concern. That is definitely a concern. So the Consumer Price Index measures goods and energy and housing costs, which rose approximately 4.2%. And there was a survey by economists, and they were expecting like 3.6%. And there was a number of things that have gone up in price, and we see this. You look in the ShopRite or wherever you're going shopping, and you see this in the food and everything else, and you start saying, okay, gas prices, so on and so forth, and things are going up. Used car and truck prices are one of the key indicators for inflation, and they surged 21%, and that was 10% increase also in April. So overall, it was a 21% increase this past year. So that's very, very concerning. So this is something that I think we all have to look at and be wary of going forward. One of the things that they said, and economists said, and I'm not disputing some of it, is that because of 2020 and the COVID pandemic, there was a big, obviously a widespread shutdown in the U.S. economy. So, things were somewhat depressed from an inflation perspective, and most definitely that was the case. But I don't know if that's necessarily the whole situation. One of the things that the Federal Reserve, they always adjust interest rates based on inflation. So If there's inflation, they're going to continue to raise interest rates to tame it. Well, back in 2018, they were projecting inflation, and they were wrong on it. So after that, they said to everyone, well, we're going to be, instead of forecasting into the future, we're going to be behind the curve. So we're going to follow it and see what's going on. So as a result of that, that could be a major issue. So they're going to be more reactive, or less reactive, to tell you the truth, and see where things go, instead of being more reactive and raising interest rates maybe ahead of time. So that is something that I think is going to hurt us in the long run as well. Now, there was a individual, his name is Thomas Petterfee. So Thomas Petterfee, he owns Interactive Brokers. He's chairman of it. He was a founder of it. And he said the same thing. And this is something that I've spoken about before, so I want to be a caveat to this, is that when people write articles, they look for things to support what they're saying. I said that time and time again. Same thing with me. So I'm feeling there's inflation coming up. I read what Thomas said, and he's concerned about it, and that supports what I did. So I want to be very clear on that. Now, there'll be other individuals that are saying, well, it's not really the case, it's only a blip. I don't think it's a blip. So I want to be straight up with that. I think this is going to happen, but we're going to wait and see based on a trend. But I just, with lumber prices going up, gas prices going up, and food prices going up, all those things are impacting inflation. And it's just, that's the way it is. He stated very clearly, says, I'm very worried this is an unstoppable situation, because the longer the Fed waits, the more they will have to raise rates. And that's exactly, when I was looking at the numbers, I was thinking that exact thing. And then I'm looking at this article and saying, yeah, exactly. And that's a big concern. It's a very big concern. And it's grown faster than in the past 12 years. So with that said, I'm going to have to close out this session. I'll be back shortly. Thank you very much. Again, you could give us a call at 973-240-8593 or TemplarCashForHouses.com. Thanks a lot, guys.
Life can be a roller coaster, and sometimes you need to sell your house fast. That's why there's TemplarBuysHouses.com. Maybe you're downsizing, getting a divorce, having health or financial issues. If so, head to TemplarBuysHouses.com. TemplarBuysHouses.com. TemplarBuysHouses.com will buy your house quickly and without hassle. If you've inherited a house that is vacant, contact TemplarBuysHouses.com. Dealing with them is easy and quick. No high-pressure sales tactics, and you won't have to fix up the house. They will buy your house as is. You pick the closing date and when you move out. No commissions and no hassles. Contact TemplarBuysHouses.com. TemplarBuysHouses.com. With an A+ rating from the Better Business Bureau. Call 973-315-7990. That's 973-315-7990.
Be sure to listen to the podcast of the Templar Real Estate Talk Show. Find it now at TemplarBuysHouses.com.
Hello, welcome back to the Templar Real Estate Talk Show. My name is Joseph J. Zoppi, Managing Partner of Templar Real Estate Enterprises. You could reach us at 973-240-8593 or TemplarCashForHouses.com. Remember, if you need to sell your house fast for cash, please give us a call. If you need to sell your house through the traditional multiple listing service, give us a call. We have great agents on staff that'll help you. and they'll work with you and make sure that your sale is successful. So a couple things I want to talk about. I don't know if I'm going to be able to fit everything in because I only have like 10 minutes left on this segment. So a few things. I'm recording this Thursday night. It's like 12 o'clock at night. I'm going out to see my son. He's graduating from nursing school, so we're really very proud of him. So he has a special day tomorrow on Friday it's a pinning, so it's a special ceremony just for the nursing students. So we're really excited, and then he'll have the big graduation with his entire senior class on Saturday. So I have that, so I needed to make sure that I got this recording in before I left on Friday morning. So one of the things that I was doing this week, I was talking to a family member, and he gave me a call. He said, "Joe, I want to sell my house." I was like very surprised at that. And I said, "Well, why do you want to sell? Are you going to move away and, down south?" He said, no. He goes, I'm a Jersey guy, and I talk a certain way, and I'm used to certain food and stuff like that. I said, yeah, I'm the same thing. I'm a North Jersey Italian boy that could not move anywhere else. So we were just laughing on that. And, I came by, I took a look at his house, and I says, it really doesn't need much work. He thought it was going to need, refacing of cabinets and things like that. And I said, you don't need that. And, the refacing of cabinets costs more than replacement of cabinets. So, it's not always a really good deal. Now, sometimes it might cost more to get cabinets, but at least for me, where I'm getting my cabinets, and they're pretty decent quality, it's really not worth it. And what I did is, a while back, I had called a refacing company and said to them, I'm doing a rehab, I'm an investor. And they said, nope, we don't deal with investors in rehab, because they know the prices are very expensive, and they just said, no, we won't do it. And I said, well, what's the price? They said, nope, we won't do it. And it was very, very funny. And he wanted to change a lot of things. I says, listen, there's not a lot of inventory, just do the minimal. And there was a few things that needed to be done, and it would have cost them inside probably about maybe $1,000, maybe $500. And outside there was some issues with drainage, so it's probably going to cost him like $5,000. But he wanted to do the right thing with that. So I said, do that. And I said, well, what are you going to do? Are you going to find another place? I said, you're selling at the top of the market, and you're buying at the top of the market. And he said, no, Joe. He says, my timing's always wrong. He says, for once, I want to try to be correct with this. So he said to me, I'm going to sell now, and I'm going to rent, and in about 4 years, I'm going to buy. I said, that sounds really good, because I cannot see the economy continuing with this pace. I just can't. And again, you can never really judge the top of the market. You never can. It's always, well, it's right now. You don't know. And this could go on for another year, 2 years, whatever the case may be. But 3 to 4 years out, I really don't think it's going to continue. And again, if we're starting to see inflation, and there's all these increases in taxes from a capital gains perspective, I think we're in for a tough road. I was reading something which made me really laugh about capital gains and taxes, and it said that neither the conservatives or the progressive or liberals, whatever you want to call them, were not happy with the idea of President Biden raising the taxes. And I'm saying to myself, it was very clear from day one that they were going to raise taxes. So there should be no surprise about this. So that's what is just, I think, very comical, that they're surprised at it. And, this is what it is. There was no hiding of it. There was no secret things. And, they said it's for millionaires, but again, a millionaire today is not the same as a millionaire, 20, 30 years ago. It's very easy to hit $1 million on a given year based on someone that might have a business or someone that has sold some real estate in combination with their salary, their spouse's salary. It could happen easier than what they're saying. They said there's a very slim chance. There's not a very slim chance. And that's why people are very upset. And I think once it's enacted, I think there's going to be a lot more people upset at that, to tell you the truth. So we'll see where that goes. So I only have about 5 minutes to talk. So one of the things I really wanted to talk about is questions when you're talking to a real estate investor or a contractor or an attorney, whatever the case may be. And they always talk about the good. Every time, it's a good, this always happens. Well, really the question, an important question to ask anyone, you could ask me the same thing, is what happens when it doesn't go well? What did you do? And how'd you react? And that's really, I think, defines a good contractor, a good individual you're going to want to invest with, a good anyone, is tell me the times things did not go well and what did you do? Because when things go well, everyone's a rock star. When the stock market's going up and you're investing in stocks, everyone thinks they're, the best stock picker. That's not the issue. The issue is when things are going down, when things are going sideways, when there's a problem. That is when you really determine if you have someone good or you don't have someone good. Case in point, I was suing a ex-partner. I invested in a lot of money and he took it and spent it. And he paid off his bills and all his loans. So I wanted to sue him. And everybody, there's one other thing. Not only is the situation where things go sideways, but never, ever, ever take no for an answer. Wherever you have to go, if someone says no for an answer, keep plugging away either with that person or go somewhere else until you get a yes. That's a really, really big thing. And I had a situation where my attorneys, I had multiple attorneys, and my accountant says you're not going to get the money back based on the way the contract was written. And I said, no, I'm getting it back. And eventually I got it back through some very creative means. Nothing illegal. It was really straight up. But I don't want to really discuss it on air. If we ever have a chat in person, anyone out there, I'll explain it to you. But never, never, never take no for an answer. Especially if you feel things should be a certain way. And you continue to turn over the stone until you get the answer, or until you think out of the box in terms of a way to solve that solution. That is so, so important. I had a attorney that was going to help me with this, and things went sideways on it. And as a result of it, he was falsifying documents. It was just crazy, and he was charging me a lot of money, and I had to sue him for it. And I never had to pay for the services because I questioned him. But, I learned a very important thing, because it was blatantly, he lied to me. It was blatant. And, I learned that attorneys don't sue other attorneys. So, one of the things, if you want to take out of this show, is an attorney won't sue another attorney. It's very, 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 very difficult to find someone that's going to sue another attorney. So, be wary of that. So it's always good to have someone that's very good that's not going to fail. And sometimes it's very difficult to find that situation. So to circle back, and unfortunately I don't have enough time, and I will talk about this next week, it has to do with character, and again, when there's a problem, what does a person do or a company do as a result of that problem? And that, again, just take that as the last thing to think about when you're talking to people and you're talking for a service that you want to receive. Ask that important question about, when things went wrong, what did you do? And ask for a couple of examples. If someone says nothing's gone wrong, then they've never done enough of things, whatever those services are, or they're lying to you. It's one of the two things. It's that simple. Because things go sideways, no matter how much you plan. But it's how you react to those things and how you overcome them. So unfortunately, I got to close out this session. I want to thank everyone. Again, you could reach us at 973-240-8593 or TemplarCashForHouses.com. Also, make sure you see Teresa at Mara's Italian Deli in Pinebrook, or Mario in Basilico. Teresa will give you a 10% discount. Just tell her that I recommended it. But again, you have to speak to Teresa, and she'll give you a 10% on lunches and catering. Okay, so Father's Day is coming up. So again, thank you very much. God bless, and I'll talk to you next week. Bye.
Life can be a roller coaster, and sometimes you need to sell your house fast. That's why there's TemplarBuysHouses.com. Maybe you're downsizing, getting a divorce, having health or financial issues. If so, head to TemplarBuysHouses.com. TemplarBuysHouses.com. TemplarBuysHouses.com will buy your house quickly and without hassle. If you've inherited a house that is vacant, contact TemplarBuysHouses.com. Dealing with them is easy and quick. No high-pressure sales tactics, and you won't have to fix up the house. They will buy your house as is. You pick the closing date and when you move out. No commissions and no hassles. Contact TemplarBuysHouses.com. TemplarBuysHouses.com. With an A+ rating from the Better Business Bureau. Call 973-315-7990. That's 973-315-7990.
Be sure to listen to the podcast of the Templar Real Estate Talk Show. Find it now at TemplarBuysHouses.com.
The preceding program was paid for by Templar Real Estate. The views and opinions expressed are not necessarily those of the staff and management of WMTR. As always, it is advisable to consult a professional before making a major decision.